Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So, most people don't think. They memorize. They quote books, they quote sermons, politicians, influencers, you name it, like they're reading from a script. They think that citing someone smarter makes their argument stronger. But what they're really doing is outsourcing the one thing that makes us human. And that's independent thought. And they call it wisdom. No, it's dependency. It's dependency disguised as virtue. And that's how you control people without them knowing that they're being controlled. This is the game. This is how it works. You take a child, you teach them obedience, and you call it goodness. You give them rules, you call that safety, and then you put a collar on their mind, and then you convince them that it's a crown. But, make no mistake, this isn't morality, it's programming. It is programming. And most people never break out of their programming. They just transfer that obedience from one authority to another. First, it's their parents, then it's their priests or pastors, then it's their political parties. They follow rules they didn't write. They defend beliefs they didn't question. And they die on hills that they didn't build. And I say this because I lived it. I lived that. I was that. I was a traditional Catholic. I was one of those trendy trad caths for nearly a decade. I knew the creeds, I knew the councils, I knew the canon, had the Latin Vulgate, had the Douay Rheims, read the Bible in the proper contexts. I knew the arguments for divine authority. I knew the history of the church. I knew what I was supposed to believe. But that's just it. I knew what I was supposed to believe. I didn't arrive at it through thought. I inherited it through repetition. And that's what hit me. Most people, they aren't faithful, they're just compliant. They didn't test these ideas that they have. They didn't wrestle with them. They didn't hold them up to the fire of contradiction. What they did was they just parrot what someone they told them once, and now they act like they were there, boots on the ground, 2,000 years ago, watching the resurrection happen in real time, live. And that's not reason, that's reenactment. And if you want to live that way, if you want to live your life that way, that's your choice. But just don't call it thinking, because that's not what it is. Don't call it truth seeking either. It's neither of those things. And don't mistake conformity for conviction. Because here's what I learned. Okay? Once you realize most of what you believed came from someone else, you start to see the entire machine. The way institutions survive is not by getting you to think, it's by getting you to delegate thinking. Let the church think for you. Let the state think for you. Let the party, the movement, the echo chamber think for you. And eventually, you forget how to think. But I refuse. I'd rather be wrong on my own terms than right on someone else's. I'd rather burn everything to the ground that I believed and rebuild from scratch, from zero, than wear a belief system like a borrowed suit. And that's what Nietzsche meant when he said that God is dead. Not that there's no creator, but that the external rule books are gone. That meaning is no longer handed to you like a child. You're an adult. You're on your own. And that's terrifying, sure. But it's also the most honest freedom there is. And that's why I live by the non-aggression principle. That's why I'm a voluntarist, because I don't believe in ruling over other people, and I don't believe in being ruled. I believe in mutual respect. I believe in self-defense and protecting others when necessary. And I believe in using common sense and street smarts to navigate life like a man. Not a follower, not a zealot, not a sheep, a man. Because following blindly, obediently, passively is the default these days. And to escape that, it requires a lot of pain. It requires disillusionment. It's very painful. It requires watching people that you once trusted shrink in the face of real questions and just fall back on those, those tired slogans. We'll just have to have faith. You're overthinking it. God works in mysterious ways. My personal favorite. Nah, man, that's not a rebuttal. That's a retreat. And if you don't stop outsourcing your mind and your voice and your instincts, you will live your entire life inside a cage that someone else built for you. And that's why I wrote Dark Mode Protocol. It's not a cheesy self-help book. I would consider it a war manual for the emotionally intelligent man stuck in a world that wants him neutered, numb, and obedient. If you've ever felt like you're going through the motions, like you feel like your voice doesn't matter, like you're losing yourself just to keep the peace, then this is for you. There's no fluff, no motivational cliches. It's just raw perspective and clarity and tactics to help you reclaim your edge in a system that's designed to dull it. And so you can find my book on book.dadmodedark.com. And it's also going to be in the video description. I'll leave it there. But yeah, so here's your wake-up call. Stop quoting and start questioning. Stop kneeling and start thinking. Stop waiting for permission. Start building your own values from the ground up. Because the minute that you realize that every institution has an agenda and that every ideology has a power structure and every movement wants your loyalty, you'll see why ruling yourself isn't just a rebellious idea, it's the only sane one. Even Nietzsche's Zarathustra knew when it was time to go silent, not to escape, but to rebuild. And before anyone rushes to object, yes, I know who Zarathustra was. I'm not quoting a religious prophet. I'm referencing Nietzsche's fictional Zarathustra, a symbol of the self-overcoming man, the one who rules himself, the one who walks away not to retreat but to rise. A contrasting view worth noting is that Nietzsche deliberately chose the name Zarathustra because he saw the historical figure as the originator of morality itself. And an iconic, but I would say intentional contrast. Nietzsche, he viewed the real Zarathustra as a kind of proto-moralist, someone who, out of resentment, projected a moral metaphysical worldview that would later be adopted and weaponized by Judeo-Christian systems. So I would say that his use of the name is not reverent, it's strategic. It represents the inversion of the very morality he came to overthrow. But yeah, I mean, so if this hits you in the gut, write in the comments, I won't outsource my mind to anyone. And if you're ready to go deeper, the book's in the description. You don't need it to think for you, but it might help you remember how. Because the real revolution starts inside of you. And no one is coming to lead it. Not your pastor, not your party, not your guru, just you. So rule yourself. That's all I got. See you on the next one.